Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
What?
Oh, I don't know. Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year's, I guess. It is the annual Christmas episode here at Real Talk Christian Podcast. And this year, we're going to go behind the scenes on some old historic Christmas carols. We're going to read about the history of these Christmas carols, where they came from, even kind of do some misconceptions or some, did this person really write this hymn? This could be a fun conversation for this Christmas season, Fuller. So you ready?
Ho, ho, ho. Let's go.
So I accidentally unmuted you, and
I was like, what? I was like, hey, man, we didn't talk about when we were going to come in. I'll just do a countdown. And you were like, what?
Well, no, it's 5,
man.
4, 3.
I was trying to wait for the one beat though to come bring it down, but
my bad.
We did it on like the 3 beat.
It is also hard to be like, welcome to Real Talk, when the music is just a nice slow G. But you know, it's Christmas season here in RTC.
Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Happy holidays.
You know,
Happy
Janelle made fun of us because this year we did not prep well. We don't have our Santa's hats or our Christmas outfits.
I did wear a blue shirt.
We don't even have Christmas mugs this year because it's been a wild year.
It's been nuts.
So that's our Christmas tree behind us.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, you're going to see the flashing flasher lights.
The flashy flasher lights.
Whatever. I don't know. It's our Christmas lights, and that's what we're going to go with this year. Maybe we should have turned down the lights and just had a big old flash in one spotlight. really
like the Christmas pageant style.
Really set off a vibe. No, I don't care.
And then we sing a solo.
So, what coffee are we drinking tonight, there, Marc?
Wow, we're jumping right into the coffee.
Well, we got to streamline, bro. We got to streamline.
So we had an episode in between this one and last week's. There wasn't really an episode. We just hung out over on Facebook Live inside the Facebook group.
So when we talk
and I guess it was on YouTube. It was on YouTube.
And it was on Twitter. So when we tell you guys to hit that subscribe button and get involved, we mean it. So if you haven't done so, go to Real Talk Christian Podcast Community Group, the Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, hit all the subscribe. So when we're on, you guys are known. And
if you missed it, you missed it. Yeah. But we were eating some cinnamon rolls, having a good time with our coffee.
I think that was the name of the video, wasn't it? Cinna rolls?
No, Cinna rolls. And so I'm still drinking my decaf from Kalamazoo Coffee Company. You know, nothing good comes out of Kalamazoo except Kalamazoo Coffee Company and my brother-in-law, Joe.
And I think Godfather's Pizza. Anyways, I just finished the Toccoa Caramel that I was drinking last episode. And I'm
just going to throw it out there. If anybody wants us to drink coffee from your hometown,
send it
on the show. Seriously, hit us up and let us know. We've had people, and this is going to sound like a really shameless plug, so I'm just going to lean into it as hard as I can. We love free crap, so please send us your free coffee from your places. But here's the other thing, too, is it's so fun because every time we get coffee from different places, we've had coffee from Canada, for crying out loud.
Right.
We've had coffee from Peru. It's like we get to drink a little bit of your town and your culture while we're here on the show. So it's not just so much of a, we're cheapskates, so we want free coffee, and this is how we get it. That's not what this is at all.
No, we say you guys fuel us. You guys sponsor us by fueling us with coffee. That's
absolutely.
What we do,
so it's just fun to have a little cultural exchange too. Like you give us some coffee from where you're from.
Yeah.
We drink it on the show. We give you a shout out. It's a good time.
It is a good time. And if you guys didn't know, I know we haven't plugged it in the past few episodes, but we do have our merch store up and going, and so.
It's too late, so you can get your New Year's gifts, I guess.
You can just go to realtalkchristianpodcast.com
/store.
And then just hit the store button, and it'll take you to the store.
Well, it takes you to a page which explains our store is a little weird because how Redbubble does things.
Yeah.
And then it explains how to do it, and then it lets you go to the store and then buy some stuff.
There you go. Anyways,
go
get your merch with all your Christmas Money
and your baggy bags.
Anyways.
Man, you're pushing us right through.
I am, because we have we set a goal, man, and I'm going to stick to the goal. So today our review is from Brie Ellie 16. Great Christian content. I love how they follow everything up with scripture and explain the Bible instead of just pushing personal opinions.
She spells my name right.
Marc and Chris keep it real while not taking themselves too seriously all the time. I've had this podcast on every day at work for the last week. I'm learning so much. As someone who has just started digging deeper into my faith, this podcast is helping me form my own opinions on big issues.
Let's go.
Well, Brie Ellie 16, we appreciate your review. If you are here in the States and would like to get a mini swag bag, reach out to us with your name and address, and we'll get that shipped to you as promptly as we can. Anyways, man.
And before we move on from that topic, also, if this podcast is an encouragement or you think someone would enjoy the conversation, you can share it with somebody.
Share.
It's free to share. Sharing is caring.
I was going to say sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. I am making my font larger because I have a lot of reading to do this episode.
Goodness.
So, every year for the holiday episodes, whether it's Thanksgiving or Halloween or New Year's or Christmas, it's sometimes hard.
Yeah.
They keep coming up with stuff. Like pastors get this fun. They can create these themes around Christmas. We're talking about this theme. But for us, we're like, we got a one-shot wonder, baby, for Christmas. So what the heck are we talking about?
Do we really want to talk about everything that every other pastor's talking about?
Exactly. So we were thinking, okay, so what could we do for the Christmas episode? And then you had this idea. Yeah. And then I did all the work. But you had this idea. I'm giving you crap. I claimed it.
I know, but that's what I like.
One.
Well, typically, I did all the traditions and I do all the hard ones.
Year. No, you did last year.
Yeah, no, that was we switch off years.
Oh, you know what? We never looked that up because in the podcast live stream, we were trying to remember.
Streamline.
Streamline. No, but we were trying to figure out which Christmas episodes we have done so far.
Yeah, right.
And so I do know for a fact we've done Santa Claus. We've
done Santa Claus traditions. What's missing?
Misconceptions of the Christmas
Keeping
story.
Christ as the focus during the Christmas season. That's the other one.
Oh yeah, 123 is the Christmas story. And so Megan, if you're still listening, you asked us if we've done one specifically on Baby Jesus Nativity. We have the Christmas story. Are we missing the facts? Oh, Advent.
Yeah, we
did two Christmas ones last year.
I did that one and that one. And that one and that one. And you did that one.
You did that one too?
I did all those, yeah.
You even did a Christmas Carol.
And I did, so I'm going to do a shameless plug here. If you guys did not...
Streamline.
If you guys... wait, hang on. Go ahead, Mark.
No, but shameless plug.
Shameless plug. If you guys haven't listened to it, or if you want to listen to it again, go back, type in Christmas into our search bar at realtalkchristianpodcast.com, and you'll see a Christmas Carol audio drama presented by RTC. That's me and my wife, Janelle. It was a Christmas gift we did for our kids last year by putting on this audio drama that I did a ton of hours on.
We could drop it again this year, dude.
We probably should. I think it's a fun thing. A Christmas Story is a classic. So
I say drop it, bro. Drop it again.
Listen to it if you ain't.
Drop it again.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
I love it. So for this Christmas, we were trying to figure out what exactly we're going to talk about because we want to talk about the same thing every single time. And you were like, dude, what about we talk about Christmas carols? And I'm like, why would we talk about the book A Christmas Carol? And you're like, no, Christmas carols,
carols,
like the songs. Yeah. Where they came from. And I'm like, bet, let's go.
He's like, I want this one. I'm
absolutely.
Like, you got it, bro.
So, I was doing a lot of research last night and reading through all these different hymns and there's backgrounds and stuff like that. And there were some Christmas carols that I did not bring in because there's hundreds. So I brought in the five very popular Christmas carols, and then we're gonna talk about their histories. Classic, yeah, not like Mariah Carey, but like classic church Christmas carols that have been sung for hundreds of years, where they came from, their story, their history, that kind of fun stuff. But before we do that,
let's get into it.
Do you know, guys, what are the most downloaded Christmas songs on Spotify
from last year? I bet we can guess number one.
Number one is she's been thawing out since Halloween.
All the Queen of Christmas for Christmas is you.
Hey, did you see the article that I don't remember who released it. Someone released it last year of how much money she makes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's like millions every Christmas season because it is the number one. So Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You is the number one. That was the most streamed Christmas song.
This next one had me kind of shocked.
Last one was Last Christmas.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
I missed the tune. That was so off tune. But I love Last Christmas. I actually enjoyed that one. Another one is Santa Tell Me, Are You...
I cannot.
Santa Tell Me, Are You Really There?
I can't stand that song.
I
can't stand that song. Yeah, I'm glad you know it because I always turn it off when it gets to that song.
Next year. I enjoy that one.
Anyways, what's the next one?
Number 4 is for Beth and for Janelle. Number 4, so far, we've had Mariah Carey, number 1. All I Want for Christmas Is You. Last Christmas by Wham. Number 3 was Santa Tell Me. Number 4 is by Michael Bublé.
Bublé.
Michael Bublé. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys are everywhere. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Whatever it goes. Anyways, but yeah,
Michael. You combine the two.
Michael Bublé.
So Michael Bubbles, number 4.
Number 4.
And then number 5 is a classic Christmas song, "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree."
The Christmas tree at the Christmas party house. Right. Next one.
Next one is "Jingle Bell Rock" by the Bobby Helms. I do have to say, this was one of my favorite songs. But then, now whenever I hear Jingle Bell Rock comes on, stinking Mean Girls always pops in my head with that stupid dance. And I'm like, it ruins it.
Oh,
it ruins it, man.
I'm still okay with Jingle Bell Rock.
Oh, I still love it, but it's stupid. The next one is "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year" by the one and only
Andy Williams.
Andy Williams.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
And then number 8 is one that I love, is "The Babes." Mistletoe.
The Babes.
Mistletoe. Under the mistletoe.
Yeah.
I love that one. Now, this one, number 9, I actually didn't even know Sia had a song.
I don't even know what the song
Snowman.
is.
I don't know what that one is, so I need to listen to that because I don't even know what Snowman is. But then
I don't know this next one either.
The next one is "Do They Know It's Christmas?" The 1984 version
by
Band-Aid. Band-Aid.
What is that song? I don't even know what that song is. And I am shocked that "I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas" is not on this list.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Yeah. Only hippopotamus will do.
Or like, "All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth."
Or like "Alvin and the Chipmunks."
Yeah. Like,
but see, a lot of those songs are more just the fun Christmas songs, but these are the ones that are on people's Spotify's playlists. They playing everywhere at Christmas. So this is like pop culture songs. You know what I'm saying?
Like, where's the classics? Like, "Oh, Holy Night."
Right, and that's just it. So like,
where are the classics?
And so like, as Christmas has evolved over the years, you can see, like, especially from this list, that we've transitioned away from so many of the classic Christmas songs where we focus on the birth of Jesus, and instead now we're talking about Santa, Christmas trees, mistletoe, snow, toys, and all fun Christmas traditions. Now, there are I will say a lot of these Christmas songs are really fun. Mm-hmm. They're joyful, talking about the Christmas season. I actually really love the Pentatonic song of "What Christmas Means to Me." Yeah. That one's just a baller one. In fact, Sanctus Real just dropped a new Christmas song today, day of recording, actually. And it's kind of the same idea. I don't think it's called "Christmas to Me" or something like that.
We should reach out to Marc Graham about that.
Yeah, so Mark, he posted on his Facebook, and I listened to it, so they just dropped one. But, it's we have a lot of these fun songs around the Christmas season, but as time has gone on, it's very easy, not even just the commercialization of Christmas. I don't want to go into that side, but a lot of our Christmas songs and the focus of Christmas have taken away from why we celebrate Christmas, even as Christians, and I put the focus on around just the fun and joy and traditions around Christmas. So, which I do want to say, like, if you're new to the podcast, we do have 4 other Christmas episodes from over the year, but we talk where like these Christian traditions come from, and it's wild for the simple fact of many of the Christmas traditions that we have, some of them actually have religious backings, like the Christmas tree with Martin Luther,
right?
Mistletoe coming up from Mexico, and a lot of other things that we just do. Poinsettias. Why did I said mistletoe, didn't I? Yeah, poinsettias.
Yeah, I forget where the mistletoe came from, but yeah, those Christmas traditions that we talked about last year.
Yeah, so we had Christmas traditions last year, and this year we're going to talk about some famous, we're going to call them classic church Christmas carols and how we got them. So here's the 5 Christmas carols we're going to talk about tonight, and if it's not one of your favorites, I apologize. I can't do all of them.
It's the 5.
I almost brought in "Angels from the Realm of Glory" because that was actually a Scottish Christmas song.
I can't believe you didn't put "In the Bleak Midwinter." I mean, that's just a classic hymn. In the bleak midwinter.
I could have brought "Here We Come a Wassailing on the tree."
Oh, I love that song.
Or "I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day."
It's funny because those songs are on the audio drama of A Christmas Carol.
And they're on the Hawk Nelson Christmas CD. But so the 5 Christmas carols that we're going to talk about tonight is "Joy to the World," "Angels We Have Heard on High," "Away in a Manger," "Silent Night," and "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem."
I love that song. That's one of my favorites.
Really? "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem"?
Oh Little Town of Bethlehem.
See, I would say my 2 favorite.
Dude, you got to like it just because it's got best name in it. Come on now.
But "Angels We Have Heard on High" and "Hark the Herald Angels Sings" by Lincoln Brewster with the guitar solos in the mix.
See, if it ain't thumping, he ain't bumping. That's the problem.
That was good.
I know, right? I'm learning. You're rubbing off on me.
I love it. So here's what we're going to do for this episode, guys. I have a lot of reading to do. Most of what I'm going to say from here on out, besides, my little ad, things that I like to do.
I'm going to shut up during this part.
It's all quotes, and we have all the links in the show notes, so we're not trying to steal anything. We're not trying to copyright anything, but it's easier sometimes just to copy paste from the people who did the history. We can just have some fun and talk about it.
We like it when other people do the legwork.
Absolutely. So we're about the backgrounds to these 5 Christmas carols, starting with Joy to the World. So
let's
Joy
go.
to the World, fun fact about this one before we jump in.
Fun fact with Marc.
Did you know
Nope.
that it was not actually written to be a Christmas carol? And in fact, Joy to the World was actually not even written to be a song in the first place.
I did know about this.
See, I actually didn't.
Well, I knew about it because you told me about 3 hours ago.
The words Joy to the World were originally penned by the one and only, the great hymn writer, Isaac Watts. Mm-hmm. Isaac Watts, who was, born July 1674, died November 1748, was an English Congregationalist minister, hymn writer, theologian, and
Logician.
Logic. He was a freaking brainiac.
Yeah.
He was a prolific and popular hymn writer, and is credited with some 750 hymns. His works include When I Surveyed the Wondrous Cross.
I love that song.
The one we're going to talk about, Joy to the World, and Our God, Our Help in Ages Past. He is recognized as, this is a dope title, the godfather of English hymnody.
You come to me with the problem of wanting to sing, and I bring you this on the day of my daughter's wedding.
That was brilliant. That was thinking brilliant. And so many of the hymns remain in use today, have been translated into numerous languages.
That's cool.
But in 1719, so this would have been, he would have been about 45 years old, if I'm doing the math right, about 45. Watts published a book of poems in which each poem was based on a psalm. But rather than just translate the original Old Testament text, he adjusted them to refer more explicitly to the work of Jesus as it has been revealed in the New Testament. One of those poems in the book was an adoption of Psalm 98. Watts interpreted this psalm as a celebration of Jesus' role as king of both his church and the whole world. More than a century later, the second half of this poem was slightly adopted and set to music to give us what is now one of the most famous of all time Christmas carols. This is fun, though. Isaac Watts intended the words of this poem to show the return of Christ rather than his birth. Watts never knew that the poem he wrote would actually one day be one of the most famous hymns when more than a century later, a Boston music teacher named Lowell Mason discovered this poem and set it to music. Because it was released at Christmas time, it quickly became a holiday favorite and went on to become the most published Christmas carol in America.
That's awesome.
Like, how dope is that? Like, he just wrote a poem, and then someone's like, yeah, bet. 100 years later, bet, I got you.
I got a beat for that poem.
Like, that's just so stinking cool. So that was Joy to the World. So another one that we love is Angels We Have Heard on High, which is one of my favorites, absolutely favorite. Another one, Reliant K's version of this song.
Angels we have heard on high.
Yeah.
Anyways, so when I would play that in church at Southside, I would play it, the bass version of that, with the way Soche would play above it. So it was a lot of fun. Here we go. The earliest known printed version of Angels We Have Heard on High was in an 1842 French songbook. Though the source of the song is unknown, it is believed to have originated in 18th century France. The song was first translated into English in 1860 by James Chadwick, a Roman Catholic bishop.
Wow, I didn't realize Chadwick did that.
Right, it's super cool.
That's cool.
In fact, we have more church fathers coming up here in the next couple hymns. Chadwick was born to an English father and an Irish mother. Though he was born in Ireland, he was educated in England and spent the remainder of his life there. After attending Hugh Shaw College, a combined college and seminary, and being ordained as a priest, Chadwick served for years there as a professor in humanities, mainly teaching philosophy and theology. In 1866, Chadwick was elected Bishop of Hexham and Newcastle and worked in this capacity until his death. As a bishop, Chadwick served as the quote-unquote shepherd of God's people. It seemed appropriate that he would translate the words of the angels as given to the shepherds at Jesus' birth, Gloria in excelsis Deo, which is Latin for glory to God in the highest. Just as the origin of the words of this French song is unknown, fun fact, so is the melody. So we don't know where the words came from, and we have no clue where the melody came from. Since it was common for text to be written to existing tunes, which we've talked about, a lot of songs written like pub tunes or modern licks and lyrics, or not lyrics, but modern melodies and whatnot. It is possible that the melody is actually even older than the words. The tune as we know it today was adopted and arranged by Edward Shippen Barnes. He was a talented organist who received training from the gifted musicians at both Yale and at the Scola Cantorium in Paris. Having studied in France, it seems fitting that Barnes would arrange this traditional French carol.
That's cool.
But we're not done yet. After returning from France, Barnes devoted his talent to serving God as an organist in churches all across the U.S., New York, Pennsylvania, and even out in California. Barnes also composed organ symphonies, wrote a book on methods of organ playing, and even served in the Naval Reserve during World War I. However, his most lasting contribution proved to be his musical arrangement for Angels We Have Heard on High. After all, this music accompanies the voices of people who sing about the utmost purpose in life, bringing glory to God in the highest.
That's cool.
You know, and it's cool. So, like, so far we've seen these two hymns were designed to point people's minds to Jesus. In the first one with Isaac Watts was just a poem to point the fact that Jesus is king. He's coming back. You know, joy to the world. The Lord has come.
Right.
Like, bruh, he's here. Let's go. And the Angels We Have Heard on High, you know, everything points back to glory to God in the highest. And he's also just a brilliant organist, and even was like in World War I, like, dude was just a boss.
Can you imagine not singing it in Latin, though? Glory to God in the highest. Glory.
Doesn't have the same vibe.
Glory to God in the highest. Yeah, I mean, that's what
not
it was.
Same vibe.
Yeah,
not same
not
vibe.
the same one.
Not same vibe. Here's one that I have been waiting for. All right. Here we go. Away in a manger.
Away in a manger.
Now, this is a straight up copy paste quote from this article is super cool by Baraket Khalile, I think is what it is. It's called The Story Behind Away in the Manger.
What do you always tell me? Say it with confidence.
Yeah, that was terrible. There was no confidence
Baraket
there at
Khalile.
all. So here we go. Away in a Manger is one of the most popular Christmas carols, and its history has been obscured behind, ready, false information for a long time. Our story begins in the post-Civil War area. In 1887, American hymn writer James R. Murray entitled the tune to "Away in a Manger" as "quote unquote" Luther's cradle hymn. Murray further stated that in his popular songbook, Dainty Saints for Little Lads and Lasses, that Martin Luther, like OG Protestant reformer,
95 Theses guy,
95 Reese's,
95 Reese's,
nailed them mugs to a good old church door. That he was the one who actually not only wrote it, but he also sang it to his children every night before bed. As the song spread across a growing America, people began to sing it at home, churches, and at schools. They often envisioned legions of German mothers rocking their babies to sleep each night with the strains of "Away in a Manger." As the song became more popular, some news reports even trumpeted the song's Teutonic heritage as the powerful inspiration that obviously could only have come from the great Martin Luther himself. But ironically, not only did German mothers of this era probably not sing "Away in a Manger," they never heard of the song until it arrived in Europe from its country of origin, the good old US of A. Where Murray got his misinformation on Luther still remains a mystery. Yet, because of his outstanding reputation as a writer and publisher, the story stuck. Collins goes on to write that the song was probably written in the mid-1800s by an anonymous American. The tune was composed by a J.E. Clark, a man named Charles Hutchinson Gabriel, a music director for Grace Methodist Episcopal Church, published a new version of the hymn that includes the third verse. The legend of the song being written by Luther continued to grow as passing decades brought in the new century. In 1945, as Americans battled Germany in a world war, American writer Richard S. Hill sorted through the now 70-year-old mystery concerning the carol's origin. He determined that James R. Murray probably himself probably wrote the music long coupled with "Away in a Manger." Yet, as Murray always took credit when he composed a song, it is doubtful that he would have had deflected the credit to Martin Luther. It's more likely, then, that Murray was given the song and had simply adapted the existing German-influenced melody into a four-part harmony for his book. It also seems likely that Murray received the story of Martin Luther writing the piece from the person who originally gave him this song.
I have this really cool piece of paper with lots of words. It was written by
Martin Luther.
It was written by Martin Luther. If you give me a bag of gold coins, I will give it to you.
And the article ends where it says, although we may never know where the song, who wrote the song, we can still find inspiration in the story of the song itself. It tells us of the incredible, humble birth of the greatest man who ever lived. And the more I think of, the deeper in all I fall. The song, sung for children, also reminds me of Jesus' word, teaching us that to such belong the kingdom of heaven. We must learn to become like children in order to commune with God. But like, how wild is that? Crazy. That so many people are like, oh yeah, Luther wrote this and Luther did that. And this is German mothers. And it's like,
no, he bought it for a bag of gold.
That's a little baloney, man. We don't really know where that song came from. So it's just fun. So it's like, so far,
it came from Joseph Smith.
Oh, let's not go there. But like Joy to the World started as a poem, not even about Christmas. And then Angels We Have Heard on High, we don't know where the song came from. We don't know where the music came from, but it came from the French. Away in the Manger, supposedly Martin Luther, probably not Martin Luther, probably American, and somebody probably lied. Here we go. We have two more. Silent Night. Oh, we're at the 25-minute mark. We might not make it to 30.
I figured.
You're bad. So Silent Night. Silent Night is about this is actually a really fun one. Silent Night is about a calm and bright silent night and the wonder of a tender and mild newborn child. The words were written in 1816 by a young priest in Austria, Joseph Mohr, not long after the Napoleonic Wars had taken their toll. The backstory is that the priest went for a walk before he wrote it. He looked out over a very quiet, winter-laden town, says composer and conductor John Cahonen. He was inspired and the town was at peace. It was Christmas Eve in 1818 when the now famous carol was first performed at Still Nach Nacht. Joseph Mohr, the young priest who wrote the lyrics, played the guitar and sang along with Franz Xaver Gruber, the choir director who had written the melody. Man, I really wish I brought a water down. An organ builder and repairman working at the church took a copy of the 6-verse song to his home village. There, it was picked up and spread by families of traveling folk singers who performed around Northern Europe. In 1834, the Strasser family performed it for the King of Prussia. So it was written in 1818, and not even 15 years later, it was performed for the King of Prussia. In 1839, the Rayner family of singers debuted the carol outside Trinity Church in New York City. So it literally went from Austria to the U.S. in 20 years.
Yep.
Which is wild in that time of the world, not even this time of the world. The composition evolved, and it was translated into over 300 languages with many different arrangements for various voices and ensembles. It was sung in churches, town squares, and even on the battlefield during World War I, which is a super cool story when you read about the story with Silent Night and how there was the ceasefire for...
We should do that next year for a Christmas episode.
Talk about the ceasefire World War I for Christmas?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's a fun one. When during a temporary truce on Christmas Eve, soldiers sang the carols for home. Silent Night, by 1914, known around the world, was sung simultaneously in French, German, and English.
All right, so you learn the French and I'll learn the German, and then we'll both sing it in English next year.
I can't even sing in English, bro.
All right, go on.
Not even good. Over the years, the carol's mystique grew with its popularity. After the original manuscript was lost for decades, some speculated that the music had been written by Haydn, Mozart, or even Beethoven. But in 1994, an original manuscript was found in Mohr's handwriting, with Gruber named as the composer. Today, the Franz Xaver Gruber Museum in Holland and Joseph Mohr School in Wagrain, Austria, honor the creators of this classic carol. The Still Nach Gesellschaft, or Silent Night Society, hosts a virtual Silent Night museum, tracks events, and promotes the use of all 6 verses, which, in the words of Silent Night Society president, encourage peace and demand responsibility for the globe. The English version of Silent Night is typically sung, though, with 3 verses out of the 6, and normally we sing in the order of verse 1, verse 6, and then verse 2, which I think is the most Baptist thing I've ever read in my life. We're going to sing Silent Night. There's 6 verses. We're going to sing verse 1 and then verse 6 and then bounce back up to verse 2 and call it quits. Sound good? Sound good.
Good.
But isn't that wild, though?
Crazy.
Where it's like the Silent Night that we have, we don't even sing in order of the song. We don't even sing half of the verses.
That's awesome, though. I kind of like it. I dig it. We're different.
But, there is something to be said about that specific hymn being sung at a candlelight service on Christmas Eve that is just So dope. I love that one. All right, last one is Oh Little Town of Bethlehem. Now, this is another long-winded one, so I'm going to let you ramble while I take a sip of coffee.
Oh, little town of... Oh, you said ramble. One of the best-known hymns of the Christmas season, Oh Little Town of Bethlehem.
You're not rambling, you're reading my words.
Well, it's not your words. You copied and pasted, so I can read them if I want.
Do you want to read this one?
No, I was just going to keep going, okay. I was just going to read that paragraph before you interrupted me, keep it going, but then you interrupted me.
So. Well, I was like, what are you doing? So, Oh Little Town of Bethlehem, one of the best-known hymns of the Christmas season, originated in 1868 as a poem written for the Sunday school of the Church of the Holy Trinity on Philadelphia's Rittenhouse Square. What the heck type of church name is that? That is long.
It's on the Philadelphia's Rittenhouse Square.
That was really long. The words by Rector Philip Brooks and music by church organist Louis H. Redner resonated themes of stillness and peace in the aftermath of the Civil War. Which, can we talk about the fact that there's been a lot of organists mentioned in this, that like the music composers and the directors and the organists back in the day were like the OG, like worship pastor dudes. Like that's just super cool. That's awesome. Featured in this circa 1900 photograph. Oh, there was a picture apparently with this blog post. Is the Church of the Holy Trinity, the site where Reverend Phillips Brooks wrote the much beloved Christmas carol "O Little Town of Bethlehem" in 1868, following a trip to the Holy Land. Born in Boston and educated at Harvard University, Brooks came to Philadelphia after his ordination as an Episcopal priest in 1859. He served as the first rector of the Church of the Advent, New York Avenue and Buttonwood Street, before moving in 1862 to Holy Trinity, then a new church in the area, fast becoming the most fashionable in Philadelphia. A dynamic preacher, while still in his 20s, Brooks rose to prominence as he preached forcefully against slavery during the Civil War. Extended his ministry to African American troops in nearby training camps, advocated equal rights for freed men, and became active in the Union League. At the end of the 4-year war, Brooks movingly eulogized Abraham Lincoln and the soldiers who gave their lives. The fallen included his brother, George, who died of typhoid while serving in the Union Army. Brooks found inspiration for his hymn after the war, during a year abroad in Europe and in the Holy Land. While traveling, he wrote to his children of his parish about visiting Bethlehem on Christmas Eve and feeling reminded of the hymn singing of his home congregation. It was not until 3 years later, though, however, in 1868, that he reflected on his experience by writing a poem for his Sunday school students, with the first stanza being, "O little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by." The church organist, Louis Redner, set the words to music of a composition he had entitled St. Louis, and the hymn had its first performance at Holy Trinity during the last Christmas season before Brooks left in 1869 to become the rector of Boston's Trinity Church. The first two stanzas of O Little Town of Bethlehem, featuring the author's own handwriting in 1868, were produced in the Studies of Familiar Hymns by Lewis F. Benson. Reverend Phillips Brooks originally wrote these lyrics as a poem for the Sunday school students in the Philadelphia parish. We've already talked about this. Brooks subsequently became better known for her service in Boston than in his 7 years at Philadelphia, as he rose to become a bishop of Massachusetts, and among many other calls to preach, delivered a sermon for Queen Victoria in Westminster Abbey. Following his death in 1839, Bostonians memorialized Brooks in Copley Square with a monument by Augustine St. Gaudens. O Little Town of Bethlehem lived on, sung in the United States in the form of composer by Redner, and in England to the tune of an English folk song, Forest Green. An early publisher of Brooks' papers observed the hymn. It is an exquisitely simple thing, and yet one feels behind the words of the existence of a great soul, meditating on the mystery of the divine revelation. Composed in Philadelphia, published in hymnals for many denominations, and performed by musicians from Elvis Presley to the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, O Little Town of Bethlehem became an annual and beloved hallmark of the Christmas season.
Love it, man. Love it.
You know, the cool thing is so many of these hymns that were put to music were not even designed to be songs. You know, they were designed to be poems, things that teach people about the gospel, almost like catechism type stuff, where it's like we want people to grow in their faith. And then just like what many people do now with psalms and modern songs, where they add words or they add music and melody into the song to help us remember it. It's just kind of cool when you read through the history of some of these songs have been sang by Christians for centuries. I mean, this one was 1888. What was the oldest one we have? The Watts one was from the 1700s.
Yeah,
Away in the Manger. We don't really know. Angels We Have Heard on High was in the 18th century. So all of these were up to about 200 years old.
Right. Yep. 1700, 1800.
And so for 200 years, these songs have been cornerstone pillars inside of the Christian church. And it actually kind of makes me think a little bit about, like, is it one of those things where, I mean, Beth and I play a lot of Christmas music in the house. We just bump it all time long. But there's something simple to be said about singing these very, very simple Christmas songs to remind us of the beauty of the Christmas season, to remind us of Jesus coming as a little baby, and the beauty and the simplicity of the message, but also the grand and vastness of the implications. You know?
Yeah.
And so I don't even know what other final thoughts I have, except for the fact of that was just a heck of a lot of fun reading about the history.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun.
These hymns.
And we hope that you guys enjoyed it as well, and hope that you guys have a great and Merry Christmas.
But we can't leave yet.
Not yet.
We can't leave yet, Fuller. You know why?
Why?
Time for Fun Facts with Fuller.
All right, my dude. I said we were going to be done in 30 minutes. You said 35, so I think you win the bet.
I'm pretty close
for this one.
Yeah.
So do you have a fun fact to end the Christmas season with, as we are almost into 2024?
So, as we start getting to the Christmas day, what do you typically think of when you have kids? Like, what do the kids think of?
Presents and stockings and all that kind of fun stuff,
Yeah,
right?
so, this one has to do with Legos. Did you know that Lego bricks withstand compression better than concrete? Before you ask why the world isn't just made out of Lego bricks, think about how much just one set costs. Why are they so expensive anyway? Like, it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, they actually hold up better in compression-wise.
Which I have seen that before. I've actually seen where they take, like, the compressor down, they try to squish the Legos, and it doesn't do anything, and then eventually it just goes boom, and it's super loud.
Explodes. Yeah, but
and that's what happens to my foot when I step on one. I go boom. And
again, that was an article from Popular Mechanics. So there was I even put the source in there this time.
That's a whole lot of fun, man. Well, guys, we're not going to keep you any much longer than this. Just like always, share the episode with someone else that you know you would enjoy it with you this Christmas season. Man, I've been talking a lot. Leave a like and a review anywhere that you listen to your podcast. If you have any questions at all, just email realtalkchristianpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you haven't already, go to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. Wow, it doesn't go very loud when it's just very silent.
Subtle.
Anyway,
Silent
ding,
night.
ding. So when we're on, you'll know. And we were just on a while back. I did a live video, and everybody that was subscribed knew about it. So if you haven't done it already, go ahead and do that now.
We love it, guys. Hey, we love you all. Have a Merry Christmas, and until next time,
keep thumping and bumping. Take it easy.